How does Cobra Kai compare to Karate Kid? As one of the most popular spin-offs to date that took years to come through, is the series any better than the original? And in what ways are the two similar? Tune in to find out. I mean, the show may be loved by many, but there's also a lot who think that Cobra Kai is nothing more than playing with the nostalgia from the original franchise. Well, they have their similarities and differences. For starters, one of the underlying themes of Karate Kid is underdogs triumphing and redemption.
Oh, Mr. Miyagi, I forgot to give this back to you last night.
No, you keep.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Sir, ready?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
And your son must talk.
In the case of Cobra Kai, the focus now shifts from Daniel LaRusso to Johnny Lawrence, one of the main protagonists of the Karate Kid films, who is now our underdog. Honestly though, it's kinda surprising how he's actually the more skilled one of the two, but it was Danny who emerged as the victor.
You're dead.
But that's all thanks to Mr. Miyagi too. I guess, at the end of the day, it depends on who your teacher was. Now, back to the topic of why critics are comparing the two. Daniel LaRusso's win at the All-Valley Championship cost Johnny Lawrence a lot. Like, a lot. Who knew that suffering a humiliating defeat from your childhood could run for decades? And since we've seen Danny's success story as the protagonist of The Karate Kid, we're now seeing Johnny as he gets a shot at putting his life back together. Gotta admit though, that feat is a lot harder to accomplish as an adult than when you were a kid, and his key to redemption? His run-in with Miguel Diaz, and this is the part where it echoes the original Karate Kid film. A young and bullied Miguel is finally fed up with how he is, and here's Johnny, given a shot at redeeming himself and has established himself as the sensei of this kid. Do you see the similarities? It's like the modern-day version of Daniel and Mr. Miyagi.
I say you do. No question. That your part. Deal?
Steal?
And since we've got a teacher and student, it's only natural for Cobra Kai Dojo to open up again, right? With the re-emergence of Cobra Kai, it was only a matter of time before Danny noticed. That kick-started the storyline of the series. Let's now discuss a notable distinction between the series and the films, a different viewpoint. Fans of the original film series will concur that Danny LaRusso's perspective was heavily emphasized in the trilogy.
First wash all the car, then wax.
Wait, why do I have to watch all the car?
This was, in great part, a product of the times. Directors preferred to concentrate on one main character and a few supporting characters in movies going back as early as 1984. As a result, Danny leads the audience on a journey that is biased, giving rise to the untrustworthy narrator dilemma. Everyone believes they are the protagonist of their own story. Therefore, when Danny perseveres through his handicaps to beat Johnny in the tournament, we can't help but applaud with utter satisfaction. Cobra Kai, on the other hand, has a propensity for taking an alternative viewpoint. In reality, you might claim that the show examines a variety of viewpoints in an effort to escape the unreliable narrator dilemma, although it does tend to concentrate on Johnny Lawrence's point of view, a perspective that was sorely missing in the original franchise. During the first season of Cobra Kai, we first see Johnny when he was truly out of luck. After he lost to Danny all those years ago, the years have undoubtedly not been kind to him. We can't help but feel bad for the man. Lost, he's drunk, and his family has pretty well cast him off. Cobra Kai portrays Johnny as a human being in its debut episode, something that the Karate Kid barely hinted at the end of the film. As we previously stated, this was significantly lacking in the original franchise, where the villains were only nasty because, well, they said so. Character development is another thing Cobra Kai performed that was an improvement over the movie. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting that the original film had absolutely absolutely no character development. What I'm trying to say is that Cobra Kai has given this idea additional importance. As we mentioned earlier, the Karate Kid put the focus on Daniel, showing his progression from novice to expert in the martial art. The matches were legendary, the classes were a ton of fun, and Mr. Miyagi's assistants made everything so much better. Nonetheless, in terms of character development, it was practically all that happened, making Danny much stronger. In Cobra Kai, we are witnessing a change in which the emphasis is now on a few characters, each of which has its own character arc. Take, for example, Eli. His storyline took a sharp turn when he rebranded himself as Hawk, where he suddenly became the bully and started bullying other kids to demonstrate his dominance. Mind you, when he was first introduced, he was a geeky boy who only wanted to learn karate because he was being bullied at school. Miguel had a pretty similar background. He too had been bullied and aspired to develop into a fearsome fighter who shows no mercy. However, he does display mercy near the end of the second season, suggesting that he might perhaps be a good guy after all. Then, of course, there is Johnny, who has always aspired to be a hero, as Cobra Kai shows. He actually is a really nice guy with excellent aspirations, who unfortunately has been tarnished by a lifetime of John Kreese's Cobra Kai teachings. Despite Johnny's difficult and protracted trip, he gradually begins to assume more characteristics associated with heroes. In doing so, he actually loses control of the Cobra Kai dojo and teaches his students that leniency can sometimes be the solution. Who knows what is in store for the guy now that he has gotten rid of all of his material possessions. And that's one of the factors that differentiates Cobra Kai from the movies. Not only are a lot of characters continuously changing and evolving, but these changes often feel unexpected to us all. Yet, if we're comparing things, the series does have a constant theme of good versus evil. There are numerous shows and films that are based on this concept. The plot isn't exactly fresh, yet it still holds up today. Yet it must be acknowledged that Cobra Kai goes more deeply into the murkiest subjects, while the Karate Kid films tended to see things in a fairly black and white fashion. Simply put, the Karate Kid gave us a narrative in which Danny was viewed as the hero and Johnny as the villain. We were never actually taught why they were good and bad, but it didn't matter because all we wanted to watch was some intense karate. Contrarily, Cobra Kai makes a point of neither praising nor criticizing any particular character for their goodness or badness. The program examines labeling behaviors rather than labeling individuals. One such instance is when Robbie kicked Miguel down the stairs, causing Miguel to end up in the hospital. Robbie has always been seen as a hero, but his actions have led some of his followers to wonder just who he really is. So there is a greater emphasis on whether an action is good or evil, with characters having the ability to switch allegiances. At the same time, it may be said that by avoiding character categorization, the program concentrates on the dojos themselves, which are where Cobra Kai's real good and evil reside. As a dojo, Cobra Kai imparts the idea that winning and strength are important, although Miyagi-Do karate advocates karate as a lifestyle that, when practiced, may bring harmony to the world. But just as Cobra Kai, an evil dojo, may have good students, so too could Miyagi-Do karate, a good dojo, have bad ones. With that, this has been today's video of how Cobra Kai compares to Karate Kid.
Dojo-san, you much humor.
What are these?
Japanese sanda.